What is up, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Blackblade and welcome back to my channel. Now before I start, I would like to apologize to you guys if I haven't really uploaded anything on my channel quite of late. I think it's more than 1 week now. If you guys didn't know, one of the main reasons is because of work. I have an 8-hour work from Monday through Friday, so if I do have a lot of projects, I do work overtime, so that goes up until probably 10 hours a day. So yeah. That's one of the primary reasons why I haven't really made any videos, or I haven't really played that much. And of course, when it comes to ARPGs like Diablo 3 or Path of Exile, you need a lot of time in order for you to make a sufficient or efficient enough build. And for this Diablo 3 video, I'm going to do the Sunwuko's build. This is of course an original build by Quinn69. It's not actually my build. But yeah, as far as monk builds goes, this is one of the best builds out there. You know, no questions asked, no doubt about it. No doubt about it that this is one of the most successful builds that you can do, which will enable you to do G-Rifts 32 and above. So I think it's almost up until 37 and above, depending if you have a perfect roll or a perfect if you already have a perfect gear, which I don't have. That's why this is going to be a budget type build. This is going to be for everyone who doesn't really have a complete gear set. Alright, so let's get into the build proper. The first thing that I'm going to discuss is of course the gear. What are the things that you will need to do. First, you will need at least 3 set of the Sunwuko's set piece gear, either the amulet or the helmet, and then there's no other choice but to get the Sunwuko for the shoulders and the Sunwuko for the gloves. Now in this setup, as you can see, I'm using the Sunwuko's crown simply because I haven't really gotten the Sunwuko's amulet just yet, simply because the Sunwuko's amulet is one of the rarest amulets in the game, so it's going to be pretty hard. And yeah, up until now I haven't really gotten that one. But if you find yourself in the situation like I do, what you really need is an amulet similar to this one, with a trifecta of stats, mainly the dexterity, critical hit damage, and critical hit chance. If as much as possible you'd really want an Xferian, I'm not exactly sure if I'm mentioning that correctly, or an elemental mitigation amulet. Those types of amulet which has an orange text, which allows you to heal some amount of damage equivalent to the elemental damage that it is mitigating. For example, the Xferian amulet, which mitigates some percentage of lightning damage, and it heals you. So that's going to be a really good amulet instead of a Sunwuko amulet. But then if you don't have the Sunwuko amulet yet, what you really want is the setup of the Sunwuko crown up here, so that you have the 3 set piece bonus. Of course, one of the rings that you'd really need is the Royal Ring of Grandeur in order to get the 4-piece set bonus. Again, the reason why we want the 4 set piece bonus is to get the 3,500 weapon damage as holy once we spend the 75 spirit. So that's going to be technically the killer skill of this build. So that's why we need at least 3 pieces of that one. For the chest piece and the bracers, there's no argue. What you really need is the Ogild's piece set, simply because of the damage mitigation that you get once you get the 3-piece set bonus, which reduces the damage from the elites by 15% and increases the damage against elites by 15%. This is going to basically face roll G-Rifts from 27 and above. Ideally up to 32, up to rank 32 and above. That is of course if we already have the unity, which I don't really have right now. That's why this is this is just a budget build. On this budget build, I can do typically up to only 32 rank G-Rift level 32. Above that, I'm already dying a shitload of times. So yeah, one of the important key factors of gear that you really need is the unity. When it comes to rolling the wrist or the bracers, what you really want is a increase for holy damage. As you can see, which I have in this one. Basically, you can re-roll or recraft the Ogil's bracers up until you get a really good roll, similar to this one. Dexterity, vitality, critical hit chance, and of course holy damage. Get all those four. Once you get all those four, you'll be set up. Of course, for the chest piece, what you really want is the dexterity, the vitality, and another key stat which you could probably re-roll into the elite damage reduction of 10%. Ideally, you'd really want 11%, but when I reach the 10%, I hold it off right there because I think I'm on the 700k roll every time. Every time I roll it, the cost really goes up. So when I reached the 10%, I decided to to hold up on that one. When it comes to your belts, ideally what you'd really want is the Lamentation, simply because of the huge DPS that the Lamentation gives you. If you don't have the Lamentation, the next key belt would be the Vigilante belt, but as you can see, I didn't really roll a really good cooldown reduction on this one. Specifically, it only rolled 6%, but ideally what you'd really want there is on the 8% mark. And the reason that I'm using the third option, which is the Hellcat waistguard, is of course the DPS that I'm getting. As you can see, I'm getting a huge DPS from the attack speed and the increased damage against elites by 4%. If you don't have the Hellcat, the Lamentation, or the Vigilante belt, the next option would be to go with the Blackthorns belt. And of course, if you're going to have the Blackthorns belt, ideally for the boots, you would really want to have the Blackthorns boots instead. For the legs, there's really no argument here. What you'd really need to have is the Death Diggers, primarily because of it increases the damage of your primary skills by a huge percentage. As you can see, I've got a really good roll on this one, which has a 95% additional damage on our primary skills, mainly. Of course, what you really want there is dexterity, vitality, and all resist. If you cannot get the all resist, then get at least the armor roll for that one. And of course, for our boots, what we really want to have there is the ice climbers. As you can see, I do have a ice climbers, but this one is for the barbarian. That's why the next option for us to use is of course the crudest boots. Now this will of course increase our damage by of course selecting the Mystic Ally. I'm sorry if you're hearing a lot of construction work. There is a construction work going on in my neighbor's side, so I do apologize for that one. Why we want to use this is of course to increase to be able to use the Mystic Ally and to be able to summon at least another Mystic Ally. So that would be 2 Mystic Allies on our side. Ideally, the Mystic Ally that we want is the Fire Ally. That is of course to increase our damage by overall by 10%. So that's going to help our Way of 100 Fist by dealing a lot of damage. Ideally, of course, you'd really also want another option would be the Mystic Ally, so that we gain 100 spirit every time we press the Mystic Ally button. That will allow us to spam the Sweeping Wind and the Mantra of Salvation, which we will discuss later. Again, so either the first boots that you'd really want is the Ice Climbers. The next, if you don't have Ice Climbers, the next that you'd want is the crudest boots. And if you don't have the crudest boots, the last option that you'd have is the Blackthorn Spurs. That is of course in combination with the Blackthorn's belt. Alright, so that's about it when it comes to the gearing options. Again, if you have the Sunwuko's amulet, the next helm that you'd want is the Eye of Peshkov. The reason that you'd want the Eye of Peshkov is to reduce the cooldown reduction of the Breath of Heaven by almost half. almost half, so that would enable you to spam the Breath of Heaven, and of course with the Infused of Life, that will of course enable us to get a 100% uptime to gain 14% additional spirit from all generating effects for 5 seconds. So we will get an additional 14 spirit every time we attack with the Way of 100 Fist. Now with the weapon, there's no really question about it. What you'd really want for the weapon is the Flying Dragon, simply because of the orange text that allows the Flying Dragon to double the attack speed. What that means is we are going to get a shitload of spirit regeneration, which will allow us to spam either the Sweeping Wind or the Mantra of Salvation, enabling us to summon a lot of clones, which will deal a lot of damage. As you can see, 3,500 weapon damage. Of course, the Sunwuko will be our main killer here. Of course, the second main killer will only be our will be the Flying Dragon. So that's it when it comes to gearing. When it comes to gems, there's no question about it. One of the most powerful gems that we really need to use is the Mirane, simply because of the 3,360% weapon damage that we do every time this procs. And of course, one of the reasons that why we are using the Way of the 100 Fist is because the proc coefficient of the Way of the 100 Fist is actually broken. It will proc a lot of smite damage, so that's going to be really good. And of course, the next legendary gem that we will need is of course the Gogok of Swiftness. Again, that will complement into proccing the Flying Dragon. So 75% will be a huge 75% will be already a huge benefactor. If you want to level that up, go ahead, but for me it's already working with already a 75% chance. If you want to upgrade that will be entirely up to you. And of course, our third gem will be the Bane of the Trap. Again, the damage of the Bane of the Trap will be multiplicative. That's why it's going to be really good in increasing the overall DPS of our build. Now, of course, you'd really want to rank this up to 40. As you can see, I only have ranked this up to level 31. According to Quinn, one of the also most powerful gems that you could use is the Pain Enhancer. Ideally, because of the, especially if you have a densely populated map, this will increase, of course, your attack speed by a lot. I haven't really tried to test that yet, but you guys may may test which one really works for you. But either the Bane of the Trap or the Pain Enhancer would work as well. But the two gems that you can't really replace are the Mirane and the Gogok of Swiftness. Now let's go to the build proper. Of course, one of the most powerful primary skills that we are going to use is mainly the Way of the 100 Fist with the Fist of Fury, mainly because that this skill is actually broken according to Quinn, which means that the proc coefficient is really high when it comes to the Flying Dragon and the Mirane. So you'd really want to take advantage of that one. The next skill is, of course, the Mystic Ally. This is the skill that you'd really have an option to swap. If you have the Eye of Peshkov, what you'd really want is the Breath of Heaven with the Infused of Light, so that you could get you could gain some more spirit over time, and then of course that would lead you to spamming the Sweeping Wind and the Mantra of Salvation. Again, the next skill will be the Dashing Strike and the Radiance. Again, this is a build heavily based on attack speed, so you really want the Radiance to increase your attack speed. Furthermore, on top of all of the attack speed that you're gaining. So that's about it. Again, you can also use the blinding speed for the 40% increased dodge chance if you want, and if you want to move a lot faster throughout the map, of course you can get the Way of the Falling Star for the 20% increased movement speed for 4 seconds. The next skill will be the Sweeping Wind with the Inner Storm. Again, no questions about it. This is one of the key skills for the build. Of course, as long as the vortex is at 3, we gain 8 spirit per second. That is going to be really good. After the Sweeping Wind, we get the Epiphany with the Desert Shroud. Again, this will be a very defensive skill for our build. As you can see, infuse yourself with sand, reducing the damage taken by 50%. That is going to allow us to do G Rifts 32, rank 32 and above. But if you're doing farming, for example, Act 6 farming, one of the options that you could take is the Inner Fire for the additional damage that the skill or that the rune will give us. After that, of course, we have the Mantra of Salvation with the agility. Of course, adding a dodge percentage to our build will be really good. As you can see, 35% chance. Or you can go with Perseverance if you're lacking some resistances in your gear. The increased resistance will help you a lot. As you can see, 40% is already a huge benefactor. Alternatively, you can use the Mantra of Healing with the Heavenly Body for the increased maximum life by 20%. That's going to increase your life quite huge. 20% will be a really huge help if you guys are lacking life. So that's about it when it comes to primary skills. When it comes to passive skills, Beacon of Ether will be a really critical skill for us to use, because it reduces the cooldowns of all skills by 20%. Now that is a flat 20%, so it's going to be a really huge key factor for our build. Of course, one of the another key factor for the build will be Seize the Initiative. This will give us a 30% additional attack speed for 4 seconds on enemies which has a 75 life and above. That 30% will be a huge benefactor into proccing the Flying Dragon again. So that's going to be a really important key factor for the build. And of course, Alacrity. This will increase the attack speed of any spirit regeneration by regenerators by 15%. So that will increase, of course, the attack speed of the Way of the 100 Fist by 15%. That's going to be another really key factor in proccing again the Flying Dragon. Then of course, another skill that we really need is of course the Harmony. That will increase our elemental resistance by 40% on top of the other 40% that it will give you. Say for example that you have a 156 physical resistance over here on your gloves. What that is going to do is it's going to add a 156%. What I mean is 156 value to all of your resistances plus another 40% of the 156%. So what I mean is 156. So that's going to be a huge help into increasing the overall percentage of the of our all resist. So that's going to be a huge help. But then again, if you have already a lot of all resist, then you could probably change that into 6 cents for the 25% non-physical damage reduction, or the near-death experience if you're going hardcore. Okay, so that's about it when it comes to our skill set. Again, the main killer will be the proc coefficient. Will be the clones of the Sunwuko. If you don't have some of the gear, you can play around with the Black Thorns, which also will be good. If you don't have the Flying Dragon, the next weapon that you could have is the Ina's Reach. But if you're going in that route, then you will have to balance out some of your gears with some more Ina's gear piece set. Ideally, the Ina's belt or the Ina's pants if you don't have the Death Diggers, or the amulet. What I mean is, or if the or the helm. If you do have the Sunwuko's helm, then you may play around with the Sunwuko's helm. Alright, so I guess that's about it. Let's get into some gameplay. For this gameplay, we are going to do a quick Nephilim Rift, which will be okay. Again, we are doing the what do you call this? We are doing Torment level 6, just to showcase how the build exactly works. Alright, so I do apologize if I haven't really done any videos. Alright, we have a good pack here. So ideally, we want the Epiphany up. And as you can see, we are going with the so as you can see, that was a very fast kill. Again, the main killers of this build will be the will be the Sunwuko's piece set, which will, you know, summon all of the clones. So as you can see, one of the worst, what do you call this? Worst enemies that we could encounter are the reflect and the if you have the reflect and the lightning combination mob, that's going to be really difficult. That's why we need to have as much what do you call this, as much resistance to lightning as we can, or if we could get the experience amulet, so that's going to be really good. So as you can see, we are not having quite you know, any trouble at all when it comes to taking down mobs, just as long as you don't, you know, you don't encounter really a really terrifying combination of what do you call this, of mods, which is primarily the lightning and the reflect mobs. So that's about it. Basically, what's going on is we are spamming the mantra and the what do you call this? The what do you call this? The sweeping wind to summon as much clones as we can, and then dealing 3,500 weapon damage. Holy, as holy. So if you're asking if it does scale with the holy damage, it does scale. So it's going to be really good if you could have the additional 19% more holy damage on your O-Guild's bracers. Okay, so I guess that's about it. Let's get into one more really huge pack of here. Again, as you can see, my DPS bumps up into 3 million. That's because of the what do you call this? That's because of the flying dragon, which doubles our attack speed. Sometimes it procs, sometimes it doesn't. One of the key problems here is that you need to have a lot of attack speed in order for that one to proc. Hold on, let me just proc that. It's not yet procking. It usually goes up to 3 million and above. Hold on. Oh, come on. Give it to me, man. Give it to me. As you can see, we have now procced it. Our damage is not... Oh, no. Oh, shit. Sorry. I've been concentrating on the damage. I haven't... yeah. That's one of the... that's one of the negative factors of this build. If you don't have the unity, is that you're going to die quite a lot, especially if you don't have the epiphany up. Alright, so as you can see, the damage is really huge. Our damage is you know, bumping up to 3,600,000 points, or 3,600,000 DPS. Alright, so I guess that's about it for this episode, guys. So again, I am sorry if I haven't really made any videos of late. You have to forgive me. I have an 8-hour shift work, and yeah, so right now I'm back. I'm going to do a lot more builds. I am going to get back into Path of Exile once once I'm done with D3, because quite frankly and quite honestly, I am enjoying my stay, or I am enjoying the current, you know, season patch of Diablo 3. Okay, so that's about it for me, guys, for this episode. So thank you so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed the content, please like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, I'm gonna see you guys on the next part of my video. Have a good one. Damage, you have the axe damage from the frenzy, and then you have the axe damage from the Stardust. So I'm not exactly sure which one is doing the 12 to 14 million damage, but it's one of those. I'm going to guess that the 14